Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my weekly Node-RED live stream here with another hour or so of some Node-RED development work. Carrying on the work we've been doing in the last couple of videos around a right-click context menu in the editor. This time I've actually done some homework, so it's moved on a bit since the last stream. So keen to sort of share what I've done, get some feedback from the good people in chat. So do say hi if you're lurking in the chat there. And yeah, we're not going to muck around. We're just going to crack straight on with things, really. So what are we up to? Well, it's the right-click context menu. Well, to cut the long story short, right now it kind of looks like this. When you right-click in the workspace, you've got a lot of the sort of familiar actions: undo, redo, cut, copy, paste, delete, select all. And then you've got these two at the top, add node and show action list. So add node brings up the quick add dialog. Show action list brings up the list of everything you could do. So that's all quite neat. It means you can now, with the mouse, pretty much access everything you can do in the editor. But there are some other little tricks I've got, well, not tricks, other little things it will do. So if, so if nothing is selected, that's the state of the menu. If I select some stuff and right click, we now get group selection as an extra option. If I select some wires, and this is new, you can't do this currently, the lasso select, the click drag select like this, I've now made it so that you can lasso select wires, which never used to work. So that's super convenient for selecting a bunch of wires. And then I can right click and I get an extra option, insert junction into wires. I need to think the naming on that a bit better, but that's the action that will insert a junction. We'll combine the wires as best it can and insert a junction. If you've got just a single wire selected and you right click, the add node now says insert into wire, and it brings up the quick add dialog. But notice it's in it filters the view to only the nodes that can be inserted into the middle of a wire, like a function node. So that's quite neat. That feels to me like it's working. If you have a group selected and you right click, you get ungroup selection. Actually, if you have a group and something else selected, you get group selection, because it isn't just a group to ungroup. So yeah, I've just been playing around. I will say, Borgie, the insert node into wire is very cool. So again, this is in some ways just doing what you could already do. So the quick add dialog is control click in the workspace to bring it up. And it's always been the case, if you control clicked on a wire, then it would do the insert into the wire. So, but it's a good point. You know, that functionality has been there for a very long time, but you can't really discover it unless you happen to stumble over it. So I think it's a good lesson in what the context menu just makes it so much more discoverable. I mean, admittedly, this context menu doesn't teach you that control click on a wire will do the same task, but at least you know the functionality's there. Yeah. So that's all. I mean, it's all feeling quite nice. Little things like if I right click right down in this bottom corner, the menu is kept on screen. So I got that working. That was one of the things we had identified on the last stream. One of the suggestions when we were sort of canvassing ideas was to have, I forget who it was, suggested having like the align options, arrange, let me say that again, this arrange submenu. So I did have a go at what if the context menu had submenus, but which it hasn't there, have I? Oh, I need to have something selected. So here you can see at the bottom, I've now got an arrange submenu. Unfortunately, that menu now falls off the bottom of the screen. And that's just a shortcoming of the menu code. There's no quick fix to get it to keep submenus on screen, just the way those menus are implemented. And to be honest, I'm not inclined to overhaul how the menus are designed or how the menus operate to support that, because I don't want this context menu to end up just being everything. We want to try and keep it to a core set that are useful, and in a future iteration, not in 3.0, allow the user to customize this list, or at least allow the user to like bookmark actions that they want to use a lot and add them to the list. Because it's also true to say, yes, the context menu is convenient, but if you wanted to do arrange, the options are all there in the main menu anyway. So I think at this point I'm trying to get that right balance between just duplicating options that are all here, like group and ungroup. They are there, but there is something to be said for just being able to do that super quickly. There is actually one I wanted to add, which is this remove from group. So this is this is an action that if you want to get, say, this inject node out of the group, you can do groups remove from group, and that node has now been freed from the group. That's probably one thing that would be handy to have. So I'm going to spend a couple minutes up front adding it. If I can go to the right screen. So Bobby Table suggests one suggestion to shorten the menu, maybe have edit with the submenu. Well, as I was just been talking about, submenus aren't ideal. Just from submenus aren't ideal to have because we can't control where they are drawn. They are always drawn relative to the menu item they're hanging off. And that's all done in CSS. There's no computation done to position it. It is always offset based on the screen location of that item. So we'd have to completely change how the menu's implemented so we could have it code sit in that path to work out, oh, I need to move it higher up. Not going to do that. So here we are. Menu items. This is the list, building up this list of actions that we want in the menu. Let me just remind myself, is it remove selection from group is the one we're adding. So I'm just going to start by, we're just going to add it down here. What did I say? It was remove selection from group. Okay. So, so if I have something selected, remove selection from group is now in the menu. In fact, I have the more succinct, remove from group. We want to use that label, so I'm going to go find what label that was, which comes in group, remove here. Menu label, group, remove, selection. Okay. Let's reload it. Select something, right click, remove from group. Okay. Now we will need to add a bit of logic to disable that option if yeah, we only want to show that option if it's going to do something. So see here, remove from group is disabled. If I select the group, note how remove from group is still deselected. Now when I go into the group and the group has got the dotted line, remove from group is now active. So what I want to do is go and find the logic that is determining that how do we toggle this, whether this item is enabled or not. So here we've got here we have some logic. Let's just work this through. So this is whenever the view selection changes, this is how we are updating all the group menu options. So we're disabling, it's this activate remove flag we care about. So what it's doing is we have some nodes selected and we have a single group selected. Then we iterate through all the nodes that are selected, and if it's of a type, just right, I've got it. Right. To understand some of the logic here, that's what I was just trying to do. Let's just look at, if I just select this node and I do red.view.selection, we're given back this object with a nodes property, which is an array of one item, which is the function node. Okay, nothing controversial about that. If I select the group and do it again I get a nodes property with an array of one. And if I come down and look at that, what is selected is the group. Okay, again, not very controversial. Now if I come in, activate the group, and I select, let's say, this top inject node, and I do view selection, again, I have the nodes property with an array with one element in, because I've only got one thing selected, and this time it's the inject node. But the key thing here is, for a node to appear in this nodes array, if that node has this G property, which identifies what group it's in, that means we're inside the group. And that means this is a node that could be removed from a group. Yeah. So for example, if I add a third node to this group, then select those two and do remove from group, that's worked. Yeah, that has worked. All right, so that's what this logic is doing here for updating the main menu. It loops through the selection, and if anything in the nodes array has the G property, we know we must be inside a group, so we should activate the remove from group option. So we are going to replicate that logic up here. Essentially, this is called whenever we come to show the context menu. This is just setting up a whole bunch of Boolean flags, and well, I'll get told off by people otherwise. Let's make them constants because they are flags that don't change. Yeah, these are basically just checking all the different sorts of conditions based on what's selected that we can then decide. You can see all these menu items have then this disabled property based on different conditions that we create those flags for. So what we want to do is we're going to what we're going to do. We are going to say const can remove from group is going to be Well, has selection must be true because that means we have actual nodes selected. And it's also true to say you cannot select a node. Your selection cannot span both a node inside a group and a node outside a group. Except when it can. Okay, so here's an interesting edge case where by shift clicking on this node, I have selected all the nodes it's connected to, which has allowed me to select nodes inside this group without having activated the group. And out of interest, if I do remove from group at this point, right, it hasn't done anything because the action itself has detected we haven't got an active group, so we're not. Or, yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to get... It would be nice, perhaps, if remove from group would work in that case, but we're not here to fix that now. We're here to say can remove from group has selection and what we're going to say. We want to say, I mean, if we ignore the edge case I just highlighted, we're saying has selection and we're going to say the first node in the selection has the G property, which means we must be inside the group or must be inside a group. So if we come down here, and this is where I then start thinking, well, should we disable the option or should we just not show it? And again, I haven't quite resolved in my mind what the right pattern is. I think there's a difference between hiding an option that makes no sense at that point in time versus disabling something that could be possible but for some reason isn't. That doesn't explain it at all. I think, yeah. Because I think it for the common actions, I think it would be more familiar to have those options visible but disabled. But I think, well, we can try it both ways. So let's first say if can remove from group, then we'll add this remove selection from group. So if we right click, we get ungroup selection. If I go in and, oh, that was interesting. Right click. Oh, look. Right click, click there. Yeah, okay. If you click on a node, it doesn't dismiss the menu. Okay, I'm not getting distracted by that. Stay on target. Activate the group, right click, and now we have either group selection, which which is a valid thing to have done at that point in time, or we right click and say remove from group, and that's done it. And if I were to select both and right click remove from group, then yeah, we're golden. And now we're sort of left with this, well, we're left with a group, which we can, if we bring over here, and then we can drop a function node into, so it has somewhere to be, or we can remove from group again. Ungroup selection, and that's removed that group. Yeah. So I think that's making sense. All right, let's just decide, what else do we want to decide? Are there any other obvious options that would benefit being in the right-click menu rather than, I mean, Search. Yeah. I mean, you could get super carried away and imagine having like right click on a node and say search for nodes like this. But it doesn't really solve a real problem, I don't think. Maybe export would be if you have things selected. What does undo when you have an empty group? It's not a bug as such, because it's entirely valid to say my awesome group, make it nice lime green and orange, and then if I remove that from the group, it's kind of a hacky way to get yourself a little label wherever you want it, which isn't a comment node. But to answer your question, if you delete it and then undo, it just comes straight back. And if I keep undoing, then eventually it goes right back to where it came from. So no, I think that's all working. What did I just say? What was I about to do? Remove selection from group. Right click. What was I about to say, guys? That's my... Managed to successfully distract ourselves. Export. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So at the moment, you can export some nodes, either Control-E or the export menu. I think having export would be a good... Potentially. Well, that's it. We can just try. So we want... we've got show action list. Where would we put export, do we think? After add node, but before show action list? After show action list. Ooh, what about... It's kind of pushing all these further down. Yeah. So there are just so many menu options. We don't really want to add everything. But I do think, in the context of doing something in the workspace at that point in time, being able to just hit export would make that feature far more discoverable. So let's again, should it be, or is it part of cut, copy, paste, delete selection, export selection? Because it's kind of in this family of copying and whatnot. Though some might say putting anything right next to delete is asking for trouble. We'll disable it if we don't have a selection and we want, what's the actual show export dialog? Show export dialog. Except, I don't think it's quite that. Show export dialog. Oh no, maybe it is. Maybe it is. So export. Yeah, okay, it's done the right thing. Yeah, it defaults to exporting your current selection, the selected nodes, which is what you want. In fact, if you want to export the current flow, then it would be reasonable for it to always be enabled, because with nothing selected, do export, and then it defaults to exporting the current flow and select. So the action already handles whether you've got selection or not. Yeah. But again, I'm wary of this list getting too much longer. So I think if I'm not happy with this label, insert junctions into wires. I will say that. I think yeah. You can see it's a hard-coded string at the moment. We don't have a maybe just insert junction. Yeah, I think Steve reset it. I said it just as I saw your chat come in. I know there's a bit of a delay, but insert junction. And if you have multiple nodes selected, insert junction. Now, this is where it gets interesting. If you have lots of wires selected that are not connected, insert junction does the right thing. And there's a menu option for that now. What was it? Split wires with junctions, which I'm not happy with, actually. Now that I'm sort of saying it, the more I say it out loud, we had this split wire with link nodes, which Steve added, which split wire with, which is a perfectly valid name. I mean, it's what was proposed, it's what we reviewed, it's what we've merged, so we're going with. But and so, yeah, Bobby Tables, I'm wondering, should they be insert something into wire? Insert link nodes into wire. Insert junction into wire. Or just insert link nodes. Do we need the into wire bit? Or I guess I'm just trying to keep things succinct. Yeah. Well, so I'm pondering the name of the action itself. So not just what's in the not just what is in the context menu, but what we actually call the action. So what shows up in this action list. You're saying the delay is huge. We should, well, let's just quickly take a time check. Yeah, so at this exact moment in time, in my time, it is 8:30 and 45 seconds. So yeah, you can work out what the delay is in the stream locally. So I'm pondering renaming those actions. Yeah, we want to get the balance right between a simple action name and an understandable action name. And it is all about striking the right balance of, which is why there is part of me, pangs of slight regret, not regret, but the fact like our copy action is copy selection to internal clipboard. So submenu again. I'm trying to avoid submenus just from a because we would have no way to yes and no. So one of the issues is the menu is the code is designed for this top right drop down, so all the submenus come off to the left. Now, I don't know if, I don't think there are, oh no, here we go. Don't know if that comes up, but you can see submenus for normal menus come off to the right. So I guess there is this extreme edge case where you want to do something here, the menu is right over there, and then you can't get to something popping up on the right. That said, I don't know if we have the code to have these menus go off to the right anyway. So, all right, so there are two things here. One is, amongst the things, we've got add node. I'd love to figure out the positioning anyway, so we have add node to add. And so if you've got a single link, then we want to have insert into wire, insert node, insert junction, insert. Maybe it's a bit of a crazy idea. What I'm wondering is whether, see what the buzzing in my pocket is. Oh, good. Let me just, sorry about this. Cool. About 5 minutes before I came online, I booked a cottage in Scotland for the summer, for a week in the summer. And that was just an email saying it's been confirmed, which is even better. So we have somewhere to go on holiday. Anyway, I digress. Sorry, I'm in one of those modes now where I'm like 5 chess moves ahead of what I've said out loud, and now I've got to sort of roll it back a bit and bring you on the journey, as it were. Because it is all kind of interrelated. So we've got this new action, split wire with link nodes, that does just that. So it will replace a wire with a pair of link nodes at either end. We've also, true to say, you can control click or, right click now, insert into wire, and you get this option of stuff to insert into that wire. What I am thinking is, why, from a user's perspective, why wouldn't the option to insert a pair of link nodes be an option on this list? Obviously, we wouldn't show it when you're just right-clicking normally in the workspace, but in the case where we know you're splicing, because we know, we can if we know you're splicing, we could add a link node pair option. At which point we can roll back and say, when you write this, and again, insert into wire, we already have junction. So in some ways, when you have a single node wire selected, this insert junction is a little redundant because you can, it's one click versus two, insert into wire junction. The only place where having a explicit option is where you've got multiple wires selected, because it wouldn't make sense to bring up the insert into menu because we can't, but it does make sense to have the insert junction option there. So okay, let's take this one step at a time, and okay. Right. Sorry, easier said than done is one of the things, is a phrase that comes to mind. Right, it's the type search we're going to be mucking around with to begin with, and then I must have added junction as a yep, common, okay. Just trying to remember what we're going to say then. So this is where we refresh the list. And I think I'm right in saying if ops.filter.input and ops.filter.output and not ops.filter.type. So this is saying we're showing the type add, the quick add dialog, and the filter that we've been given says only show things with an input, with an output, but the filter doesn't specify a particular type of node. Because why do we do that? I think the link in node lets you specify a filter, so we can say just show us link out nodes. So that's how that works. Ooh. Error. What's this? Okay. Can we reproduce? What did I do? I deleted. Oh no, how did I? There's definitely an error there. I don't know how I produced that. Right. Watch the replay. Watch the slow motion replay on YouTube later and see if I can reproduce that. Right, but what are we doing? Type search. We want inputs, nodes that have both an input and an output, but we're not specifying a particular type. That feels like that's the condition where we are about to splice something in. So we want to add in fact, we should use we do some jiggery pokery here with sorting the list, and we want them in the common. Yeah, we're going to add to common, and we're going to split with link. Okay. So common is the array of stuff that gets stuck up at the top here before we get into others. Split with link, yada yada yada. Then we do all that. Right here, we iterate through the common ones. And we normally would go look up the node type, but because we're now not dealing with the node type, we have to create the item definition ourselves. It's going to have inputs 1, outputs 1, I guess. Label type. We're going to I'm just throwing stuff at the wall at the moment to see what sticks. I think at that point we'll get some errors, but if can't read properties of undefined reading input. So what's gone on there is, I think, ops.filter, oops. So again, filter would be null if there was no filter applied. So again, we only want to do this if there's a filter, and if it's a filter asking for input-output nodes, because that's the splice case. So there we go, split with link. Shows up in the list with a very default looking node. And if I select it, we get lots of errors saying in create node, because it thinks we want to create a node. But that's okay, we're fixing this one piece at a time. Split with link then. What's quite neat here is I can now just go and look at where else did we I not so long ago had to go down all these paths to add special handling for the junction type. So that's quite a good thing, because I can now just go through, and wherever I've made a special case of junction, I can make a special case of this. I'm going to cheat a bit and reuse palette icon junction. Yeah, I'm going to carry on cheating. Okay, let's see what that now looks like. Oh, errors. Errors. Option is not defined. Ooh, okay, where have I dropped in? Option. There we are. Object, not option. Oh, more errors. Option is not defined. Have I? I got a copy and paste? Oh, yeah, same again here. Option.type. It should be object.type. Okay, so there we get split with link, and you can see, I might just be able to make out it's getting the default anonymous icon of the arrow because it doesn't know what else to do. What I'm going to do is was it split wire with link nodes? Is that the full name of the action? I know I've split wire with, there we go, split wire with link nodes. So what I'm going to do here, rather than use split with link, I'm going to use action colon core colon split wire with link nodes, because there's actually, there might be scope here, might be something reusable about being able to have other actions appear in this menu. So action core split wire with link nodes. Okay. Yeah, a lot of this is going to be contingent on, well, no, it's not, no. This all goes through okay. Right, now we need to go update the icon. So red.utils get node icon is what does the magic there. Get node icon. In here somewhere there will be, if you squint hard enough, there it is, junction. What we're going to add here is, what are we going to do? I don't know what icon we're going to use yet, but if node and node type you know what, just again, for being a little bit consistent and don't want to cause clashes with real nodes, even though such an edge case it'd be unlucky, I'm going to use underscore action underscore. And then in here, if node and node type I think, yeah. It's underscore action colon. So this is a, if I got brackets in the right places there. So this is an action pretending to be a node. An action. Yeah. Then we're going to use a Font Awesome icon. Go look at Font Awesome 4.7, and we want a nice icon that shows an action. We're going to do something. So cogs is the sort of thing I had in mind. We use a single cog for a config node. So cogs is, or gears, I mean, it's the same icon, just different name. Yeah. Why don't we, well, we can try it and see. cogs. Oops. Don't want the space shuttle. Nope, don't want that one. I want this one. Ooh, errors. Errors. Node.type.test is not a function. Okay. Type. Which right? Yeah. Did I just get that the wrong way around? Ooh. Rebuild. What am I doing? Oh, yeah, content. Yeah, wrong menu. There we are. So, what's the next step? Looks a little close to the switch icon at that size. Let's have a look. Not from where I'm sat. Would be my, and because we're not drawing it as a node, I think we can get away with it. But yeah, this is all very experimental stuff we're playing with here right now. So, what I now need to find is somewhere here. It's going to be there must be somewhere where no. Maybe this code doesn't do the actual adding. So back in view.js, show quick add dialog, yum, show, move, cancel, add. Here we are. So this gets passed through that type value. So here we're going to say if the type we're being asked to add begins with this action prefix. I'm just scanning down just to make sure. This is something I want to check around history events because no, okay, we're good. Well, we're not good. There's basically a lot of this code going on here is working on the assumption that we're adding something to the flow. So instead, we're using this as a way to trigger an action. So rather than trigger the action and then let the rest of this function run, we're going to just say, nope, you're done. Don't do any of that stuff. So here we can say const action name is type.substring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we can do red.actions.invoke action name. So control click split wire with link nodes, and it's gone and done it. Little issue with the ghost node still hanging around like a bad smell. Let's go and make sure that gets removed. Scanning, 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 scanning. There we are. I think we want these two. Yeah. Just want to check where. Oh, that's all the way up there. Okay. Let's try again. So, yeah, that's worked. Oh, it's not worked the next time I click on it though. Interesting. So what's going wrong here? Ah, recently used. Right. So recently used, so in the normal menu, we have the common ones, and then by default, we then have the everything A to Z in order. So if I were to add a function there, oh no, bad example, because the function is a common one. If I come down here and say add comment, the next time I come in here, notice comment is now here. So it shows the common ones. It then shows any of recently used nodes that aren't common, and then again the full list of everything. So it is wanting to add this action to the recently used list. And so there are code paths which are code paths that matter here. So recently used, I think we just don't want. I think the cleanest thing to do, because to be honest with you, I don't know how much people use this at all, or whether even having this recently used section at the top is useful or not. I have no sense of it. So rather than try and get that to do the right thing, what we're going to do is just look for how we put stuff in types used. Why do we do it twice? That's what I'm wondering, but I'm just going to add a check here. So only sticking to types used if it's not our action, one of our actions. Let's do it here as well. So action, awesome. Control click there, that's all working. Control click there. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I could well imagine it being all sorts of like an option to merge links. But so does Steve asks for his own code. I will point out to the audience for his own code that he wrote. Does it work with multiple links? I'm gonna first, let's test. So we select those two. That's interesting. So the quick add, the control click to bring up this menu only works when you have a single wire selected. If you have two wires selected, you have to go and invoke the action, which is Alt-L-L. And yes, it does work. So yes, it does work. And well, here's the real test for you, Steve. Has that done the right thing? Yes, it's done the right thing. It's coalesced it down into one input, multiple output. So yeah, the action does work with multiple wires selected, but we don't let you can't access the quick add dialog in the context of multiple wires selected, because you can't insert stuff into multiple wires. That's okay. I'm going to let that one slide for the moment. Okay. So let's move back now to the context menu. I'm aware it's 9 o'clock, so don't want to go too much longer tonight. So we've got add node that does what it says on the tin. If you have a wire selected, right click, now we could just have insert into wire, although we've still got to fix the labeling of this dude. I guess what I'm trying to get to is we can't do the quick add dialog when you have multiple things selected, and we want to be able to have the insert junction that does that magic. I've got one of those thoughts I don't want to say out loud. We've already got the ability to filter this quick add dialog, which we already, and as I demonstrated, bad example, with the link in node, and we already filter it to quite an extreme when you're dealing with the link nodes. What if you have multiple wires selected and we let you bring up the quick add dialog, but with a filter of have another flag on the filter to say only show me things that you can do. Yeah, okay, Noxy Boy, you've managed to type it quicker than I've managed to stumble around the words. A contextual filter on the quick add based on what you've selected. I couldn't say it better myself. The challenge, well, Yeah. Okay, I think at the moment that filtering is based on this call to show quick add dialog, and it's based on this flag called splice, which basically says I want you to show the menu, the quick add dialog, and we are going to be splicing the result. So only show me things that can be spliced into a wire. Right. And this is single link flag up here is saying we haven't got any nodes selected, we have got links, and we've only got one. I'm going to add is multiple links, and again, we haven't got any nodes selected, and we haven't got a single links. Yeah, well, has links. And not a single. Well, no, let's be more. Yeah, is it more declarative to say? Right. So now we're going to say is single link or is multiple links. Insert into wire or add node. I think that makes sense. And then we're going to add another option here. Splice multiple. Yeah, I think I know where this is going. If I go to now view, I think we're in there, aren't we? Show quick add dialog. Var splice link options.splice var splice multiple links. Then, so here you can see if splice link, that's set that to the filter. So this is where we build the filter options, but we're going to add another property to this filter. Semantically, what's the right thing? So I'm just going to call it splice multiple. Oops. Yeah, nah, not wholly convinced, but so now we come in here. Where's all our logic building up the list? Add item, filter, no. It's in here somewhere. Refresh type list. Now what we're doing is saying yeah, we need to get apply filter applying up here. Accept. Oh. Just trying to work out the logic we want here, because is that enough to do it? So I need to edit it long enough to try and think it through. So nothing shows up for that case. If I click on the link, junction shows up and that one shows up. If I select those two, oh, has selection, oh, bloody typos. So we select two links, right click, insert into wire, and sure enough it's showing me just the action. But we want junctions to appear in that list. I'm wavering about all of this whole endeavour at the moment. We've fallen down a bit of a rabbit hole. But at 9:15, when I would like to be wrapping up. So here we've got that or type equals junction. That should get the junctions showing up again. Right click, insert into wire, junction. Ooh. And that's not worked. Because we aren't just inserting a junction. Yeah, this insert junction action, that's actually invoking an action. It isn't just adding a junction, which is what type search click junction there does. Yeah. So out of interest, yep. Okay. Now we're talking about let's say if ops.filter.splice multiple split wire with, and what's the action called? Split wires with junctions. Split wires with junctions. Okay, so now we're going to have two actions in this menu. I need to just quickly go through, and there's 6 places where we've hard-coded stuff we shouldn't hard code. So if we're looking at an action, then and again here, and I'll endeavour to copy and paste so I don't have to type that out for a 5th time. There. So I think what we've accidentally done. Oh, do I want the colon in? Let's just check. I got it there. Oh, I missed it there. Missed it there. Thank you for the prompt. Yeah, those are all good. So there I get split wire with link nodes. Goodness. If I highlight them, right click, insert into wire, I get split wire with link nodes, split wire with junctions, and I can invoke that. Oh, by Jove. I think it's working. And sorry, Steve, I'm going to prioritize split wires with junctions over split wire with link nodes. This is quite neat now, the fact that this menu can now have actions in it. And yeah, I've got to sort out the label. So here's where I'm wavering. In that we've now kind of got 2 different context menus. We've got a right-click context menu, and we've got a control-click context menu specializing in adding, but also giving you these actions. It's a philosophical question. I don't know whether this work is the right thing to do, adding actions to this menu. Because if we're going to the lengths of adding a context menu, why aren't those actions in this menu? Because at the end of the day, the menu is born of actions. And keep this as the quick add dialog for adding in things, rather than invoking actions. That's the question. A question I don't know the answer to. I'm conscious of the time. I want to wrap up. Something to think about. Let me know what you think. Either in chat or jump into Slack. Let me know. I think I need to let this stew for a bit. Still feels I need to tidy up or figure out how better to present those options. Because I don't think, well, if we go down this route, then there's little point. Let's put into action what I'm saying. So insert into wire, we have all these options. If you have 2 wires selected, insert into wire, you've now got, there's just a lot of mixed messaging going on. So as a user, you select Insert into Wire. You're then presented with a dialog whose search is Add a Node. Nothing about Insert into Wire. Then you've got options. Okay, it's underlying type, but imagine this was properly presented with split wires with junctions and split wire with link nodes. Again, we've now got 3 different sets of terminology: insert into wire, add a node, split wires. We need to rationalize it, which is why I do wonder about renaming these actions, because we've not released them, so we are free to rename them to be insert foo into wire or into wires, then insert into wire, and then this can we can pick labels that are more meaningful. Maybe. And then Steve's comment about submenus. I guess what there is, the other approach is insert into wire being, okay, let's run that thought experiment. I've got like a couple minutes. What we're going to say here is if what are we going to do? We're going to copy and paste it. No, we're not. Right. Comment that out. I'm just conscious of if I make drastic changes to try these experiments, because none of it's in Git, so I can't roll back. We're just going to label this as sorry, I'm again thinking through a dozen things and making sure I don't get to the wrong options, get to the wrong final answer. Right, one sub option which is add node, and we're not going to do the splice multiple thing. I'm gonna not do that. Node, then I'm just trying to get, okay, add options, node, junction, split wires. Anyone? Split wires with junctions. Link nodes, split wire with link nodes. And again, a good example, I need to tidy up these action names. and a slight inconsistency I have introduced with the pluralization, but okay, what does that look like? Right click, add, and like I say, the fact it pops out to the left is disturbing, but it's not hiding the menu anymore. So that might be another buglet with submenus. So the challenge with submenus now is it's not really expected to push out to the left. That just does feel wrong to me. And yeah, the fact it doesn't hide the menu. Ah, I've got it. It's not hiding the menu. If you remember, we added these on pre-select, on post-select. And I think because we've gone to a sub-menu, it's not picking up the parent. So I've no idea if this will work, adding them there. But add, yeah, no, it's not working. So we need the menu code to pick up this on pre-select, on post-select from its parent. Which I think we can do fairly quickly. We are in deep rabbit hole territory at the moment on pre-select, yeah. That's top menu. Create menu. Just trying to remember how all this works. Create menu item, opt, yada yada yada. This is creating the menu items. And somewhere in here, if options, then if opt and options are getting heavily overloaded here. If basically want to push these down, pull these up, and that's the one to push down. This is the one to pull up. I think we can do away with that because I think right, if this works, I'll be mildly surprised, but add. Yeah, okay, that's worked. So we can select stuff, right click, add junction, and it does it. Select stuff, right click, add link nodes. Yeah. Add node function, and that's just dumped in there. If I just select a wire, select add node, then yeah, that works. Okay, we've got two options now, two different approaches. We're not going to, I don't think it would be right to take both. It's either we do the submenu approach, but it's taking up a lot of screen space to do. And always the worry if you do it, you can just about get away with it right on this edge because of the palette. But if you're hiding the palette, then you're out of luck. And as I say, it does feel wrong for the context menu to go off to the left. So we need to work on the logic there. Is whether that feels more natural, whether having actions in this quick add. I think as pleasing as it was to be able to add actions to this quick add thing, I think it confuses. It's going to confuse matters too much, and you end up with two different context menus which confuse. So I do think having I think this is a better direction, but we just desperately need to work on that presentation. Okay, I'm going to wrap it there. We're going an hour and a half. Progress. This was... Yeah. Oh, okay. Another issue. Right click with add being the top option. Depending how you move your mouse, the menu appears with it already open. So we might have to cheat and not have add as the top option just to avoid that. But good progress. I think I'll keep the code that lets us have actions in this list, but I'll sort of take out the logic that is adding those particular actions in. I think, may or may not keep the code. It might be nice to revive it in a different context later, but I want to focus on the context menu for now. So, yeah, maybe put show action list at the top. And then, change add to insert. Do we think add should always just say insert? And, yeah. Right. Ooh. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna... Yeah, this it's we need to get the logic around insert and these. Yeah, I keep saying I'm going to hang up, but I keep spotting something we ought to have. So we want this disabled if we only want to insert a junction here if has links. Maybe it's not has selection and has links. I think that's probably the right combination. So whilst I wrap up, no live stream next week. I will be in the US. So I don't plan to live stream. That said, I'm in a hotel for a 2-day conference with a lot of work to do. I may get bored and just live stream randomly. Who knows? But I'll be in a different time zone, so I have no idea what time I'll be streaming if I do. But no promises. Oh, interesting. Is that interesting? Disabled, not. Why is that not? Not has selection. So I've got no node selected, but I do have link selected. And if I right click, insert, the options are there, which is baffling me. Ooh. I've got them the wrong way around. They are disabled if I have selection or I don't have links. Yeah. Might need to go through and rationalize those links somewhat. Insert node. Awesome. Select wire, insert junction. Awesome. Select multiple wires, insert junction. Select multiple wires, insert node. Yeah, that just inserts it. It doesn't care that you've got multiple wires. There's a case to be made that node should be disabled when you have multiple links selected, because you can't insert a node into them, but no, there's plenty of other tidy up tasks, like, yeah, hitting escape doesn't close the menu for one, but good progress. Right, I'm stopping. I've already gone 10 minutes. Well, I've gone 35 minutes longer than I always planned to. So thank you everyone for joining. No live stream next week. I'll be back in 2 weeks' time. We may, as this context menu is making good progress, we may choose to do one last beta to get some real hands-on feedback before we ship this in the final release. But I'm also conscious, we're now a month late shipping 3.0 final based on our original plan, but that's kind of just where we're at in terms of capacity and throughput of what we're able to deliver. So, yeah. So I can see Steve in the chat. There must be a bit of delay asking all the questions I've just answered. So with that, I'm going to hang up, go have a cup of tea, and go watch some TV downstairs. Have an awesome couple of weeks. Excuse me. I'll be back in 2. Good night all.